Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today I want to show you how to use Gaffer's tape, specifically grade A gaff tape, that's our brand, to tape down cables. Let's dive in. Okay. So taping down cables is both an art and a science. Now, you might be laughing right now. However, it really is true. There isn't necessarily a one-size-fits-all solution for all cable taping, but in this video, I want to walk you through some of the basics. So first and foremost, the most common, kind of type of cabling that I think I run into for taping is, 2 to 3 mixed cables, right? This could be, in this case, it's a power cable and a DMX cable, but it could be 2 or 3 microphone cables. It could be a power cable and some microphone, could be some video signal, but small quantities of cables, not big enough that you would need to use like a cable ramp, but enough that, of course, if you're going across anywhere that somebody could walk, either backstage, on stage, or in a house type area, then you gotta tape it. Okay, so let's walk through this. In a basic cable like this, go ahead and start by getting the cable nice and flat, and you wanna make sure it's just not crossing over on each other anywhere, because that's just gonna hinder your progress as you tape. Okay, then we're gonna go along from one end to the other and tack it down nice and straight. This is preparing us and also kind of setting a ground layer for your tape. Okay, so we'll tack it. How often you tack kind of depends on how straight the cables are laying and how much foot traffic you think you're gonna get, if it's really likely that it'll be knocked out of space, etc. But just for instructional purposes, we're gonna go ahead now and we're gonna lay either 2 strips of 2-inch tape like we have here, or if you were using 4-inch tape like our 4-inch, you could do it all in one and save yourself. Okay, so 2-inch tape, here we go. Go ahead. You want to cross over the halfway point with that 2-inch tape. You definitely want, a good 10 to 20% of overlap in there, or else it's going to come apart at the middle. Okay. And then just lay it down really nice. If you're doing a long run, it helps to have a friend do this part with my hand to tighten it down while the other hand holds the roll here. And then when you get to the end, you then can go and rip off the extra, nice and neat. Now I got my tape folded just a little bit, so we'll unfold that there. Part 2. Same song, second verse, usually goes a lot quicker because the tape is being held down. Okay. And there, you're good to go. More often than not, even if it's just a single microphone cable or a single DMX cable or something like that, you really want to use more than just 2 inches of tape. Okay, 2 inches of tape can be great in those backstage areas, things like that. Areas that aren't necessarily walkways, that are on the floor backstage. You can go and you can just tack something down in places, and often that's sufficient, okay? But when you're in a public area, even if it's just a single, low gauge microphone or DMX cable, you wanna go ahead and make sure you've got at least 3 inches of tape on that or more, so that it's secure, so that as people are walking over it, it's not gonna get kicked up. Because when it gets kicked up, then your tape's gonna stick to your cable, you're gonna be in trouble, okay? Now, in public areas, you're gonna have areas that people walk a lot and areas that people don't walk a lot, okay? If it's an area where there's a lot of foot traffic, you wanna mark your tape with either some fluorescent or some white so people see it. By the way, we have these awesome browns, which are like a tan, really matches a lot of wood floors in a lot of venues, okay? Or a lot of churches with more classic style wood, works really well. But we're gonna take next either our white or our fluorescent, and to draw some attention to it, there's 1 of 2 ways we could do this. We can either split it down the middle or get a 1-inch tape, and then I'm just going to apply it in some strips along the way so that people can see the cable. Okay, so we'll just go along the cable, do some strips in various places. I'm just gonna do 1 or 2 here. You can also, for extra credit, if you wanna do more than just your strips, is you can come down the center here as well, just to highlight the highest part of the cable. That can really work really well. Continue your strips along and you'll be good to go. You'll have a cable that is really high visibility, okay? Now, if you're in a space where there's really high foot traffic, like people walking over large amounts of them lots of time, then you'll definitely consider some extra strips on the outside, okay? And definitely the ends, you'll go back over with a couple slashes like this at the end as well, too. Now, as important as putting down tape well is, how you get it back up matters too. In fact, one of the reasons some people hate gaff tape is you pull it up, you just start pulling up a cable from the end. Okay, you just start yanking up your cable, pulling up that tape, and what happens? The gaff tape comes around the cable and it tapes back to itself, right? It's just like, if I grab a little bit of tape, right? And it's going around a cable and it comes back on itself. Okay, gaff tape, when it comes back on itself, the adhesion is great between itself that it's almost impossible to get off. You can get in there often and try to peel it back, but with any gaff, you're often not gonna win and you'll end up grabbing a knife to cut it off the cable. It's a pain in the butt, okay? How do we avoid that? Simply by taking up the tape the right way. So make a ball out of that old tape and let's talk about it. Nice and simple. All you want to do is, instead of grabbing the cable and pulling on the tape, you just want to pull up the tape first. It's that simple. Okay, so grab the tape, pull it up. No mess, no foul. Go make a ball and throw it at your friends, right? Who are working with you, right? Grab the little strips of tape. If you're done and you're wrapping the cables up, done. And then you go ahead and you go wrap up your cables. End of story. Okay, similar methods are going to prevail if you are taping a cable up a wall or similar. You can use stripes across it every once in a while. Just be careful with painted walls. Gaff tape generally comes off cleanly, but that really, really depends on how well the surface was prepped, the quality of the paint. A lot of times surfaces aren't prepped, like in office buildings and stuff, and they're just painted over again and again and again with no sanding. And any gaff tape is gonna pull off a little bit of that paint. But a lot of places like hotel ballrooms, event venues, etc., will use a wallpaper. Typically gaff works really well on that, or even on their trim, they'll do a high gloss, high grade paint, and they'll sand it first. When the prep's done right, typically your tape will come off very cleanly and it'll be good to go. Other than that, gaff tape has lots of uses. You can use it to write letters, arrows on the floor, give people directions, mark the edge of a stage with a strip of it. There are a lot of ways you can use it on your next event or service and really be able to improve what you're doing, make communication more clear, make your environment more safe, all with Gaffer's tape. So if you've learned something today and you need gaff tape, hey, we are your place to get it. We're in Stage Lighting Gear and Above AVL. We've got our grade A for Above AVL, gaff tape, and it's really been taken off. Try some today. Be like all the awesome people who are switching to it and saving money so that you can buy more lights with your budget. And then, of course, we'd love to help you with that too over at Above AVL and we're in Stage Lighting Gear. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Thanks.